fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and today I'm going to go over my March wrap up and then also my April TBR. So I did not do too well in March, and that was just for personal reasons. I just didn't get a lot of reading done. It was another rough month. This whole year has been pretty rough. But I did get my main goal done, and then I also got 9 of the books that I wanted to read. So it was a very ambitious TBR to begin with. There was 17 and a half books that I wanted to read. I said a half because my main goal book was already halfway finished, but even the second half was, worth its weight for a single book. So, but yeah, it was a rough month and I just did not get the reading done that I wanted to. So a lot of these books are going to be rollovers from March that are on my April TBR, but we'll go ahead and talk about that as we arrive there. So first off, I did finally finish The Tenets of Time by Thomas Flanagan. I was at the halfway point in the beginning of March. I would really hope to finish it in February. I've been reading this since December, so the end of December. But I didn't really do a whole lot in January, and I ended up prioritizing all my other reads in February and then starting this one, continuing this one at the end of February, and I got to the halfway mark. And so in March, I decided to prioritize this one. I refused to pick up another book until I finished this one, because it was really easy just to kind of focus on the other books. And I would try to read a chapter or so every couple days, but I was focusing on the other books. So I just pushed through, and I was trying to finish it in the first week in March. Ended up finishing it March 8th, so just spilled over just a little bit, but finally done. I did record a video talking about this book, but it's not out yet because I recorded it and never got it edited and loaded. So I will be doing that after I kind of get these videos out, because I have, my Throwback Thursday video and then this video that I want to put out first, and then I'll go ahead and put this one out. But it is my thoughts from right after reading the book for sure, and definitely worth it. Even though this was a beast and it took me months, it was so worth it. Like, it's still kind of sticking with me. Absolutely loved it. But you can see my thoughts on this book in the video about it, and there'll also be a blog post coming out soon. Not sure when, but if you're interested in that, head on over to my website, scroll down and join the mailing list, and then you'll get an email when I do upload the blog for this book. So keep an eye out for that. And then the other books I read, which there were 9 of these, were the Thoroughbred series by Joanna Campbell. I had the first 8 books in the series, and then also one of the super editions. So I read these, I think, that first week after I finished The Tenets of Time, and then the last 3 I just finished this week. But again, I had a couple weeks where I just was not in the mood to read. I couldn't focus, and so I didn't really push myself. But I did get those finished, and I'm not sure when this specific video will come out. So my Throwback Thursday will either be out before or after this video. So you can keep an eye out for that as well. Like I said, 9 books, and I was able to read like 2 books in a day, not pushing myself very hard. I could have probably gotten 3. So definitely, if I had, been reading like I normally read, I would have gotten through those easily and through several of these other books as well, but it didn't work out. So I did get 9.5 books read, although like I said, Tenets of Time, even half of that book is a solid, comparison to one of the other books I would have read. So I'm pretty proud of myself for what I accomplished, even though I could have done better for sure. But like I mentioned in my last TBR video, I don't have like a set TBR. These are all the books I'm planning on reading next. And so if I don't get to them, they just kind of get rolled over. And so that's just kind of how it works. So all these books that I'm going to be talking about were, books I was planning on reading for March. I did add some others, maybe a little ambitious. Maybe I should have just stuck with what I was already planning on reading in March instead of adding more. But I thought, I might get through these, and these are the next books that will be up. So but this book that I'm going to be talking about first, I've actually already started. It is with No One as Witness by Elizabeth George. This is kind of like a British detective novel, which generally aren't my favorites. Like, they're not ones I gravitate to, but when I read them, like, I do enjoy like a detective novel, and I do like that British aspect because it does kind of make me think Sherlock Holmes. So far, I've read 3 chapters. I'm on chapter 4 now, and pretty enjoyable. This is a chunker though, it's 630 pages, but at least the writing is normal sized, and so far it's been pretty easy to get through. But yeah, so far I've been really enjoying it. It's kind of deals with racism. You have a young adolescent boy that was killed, and he's white, but it's a serial killer, and there's actually been 3 previous murders, but they were all colored young adolescent boys, and so nobody really made the connection. And so the police are kind of dealing with the press and kind of their views on that. And so far, there's also one of the cops is a black man, and he gets a promotion and put on the case. And it's very obvious he gets put on the case to kind of, oh, here's a person of color on the case. And so he's aware of that, and it kind of upsets him. But it's like, what do you do? So far enjoying it. Definitely going to be continuing it and hopefully finishing it fairly quickly so I can jump into some of the others. The next book that I want to read is the next one in the Dresden Files, which is by Jim Butcher, and that is Proven Guilty. I think this is book number 8 in the series, and I'm hoping to get to the next book as well towards the end of the month, since this one should have been read in March and I didn't get to it. I definitely want to make sure I try to get 2 of them done, because I'm trying to make my way through the series, and I would really like to finish this series this year. So hopefully we'll be able to do that, but that's the next book. And then I forgot to mention, With No One as Witness is part of my 25 days of Bookmas books. And since we finally finished The Tenets of Time, then we're going to jump over to my ABC Author Challenge books. So the next one up is Sue Grafton, so my G author, and it is T is for Trespass. This kind of seems like a psychological kind of thriller. It starts off with the voice of a private eye, and then it switches to the viewpoint of Solana Rojas, but that is not her real name. She steals identities, and she's a sociopath, and she preys on um, private care. She looks for private caregiving jobs, and so she preys on the people that she's giving care to. So that one sounds really, really interesting. Again, not a book I would typically gravitate to, but it does sound like one I will probably enjoy. And the next 2 are books from my shelf that have been on there for a long time. I'm really trying to work my way through those this year and kind of unhaul some of the ones that have been on my shelf a long time that I don't necessarily want to keep. So first up is Ember from the Sun, which again, all these books I talked about in my March TBR video, but this is by Mark Canter, and this one I was reading the reviews and the synopsis on when I was cataloging my books, and it just sounded really, really interesting. So it's about Ember, and she's born to surrogate parents who refuse to give her back, and she is raised among the Quanu Indians, but she is very modern, and she has the power to heal, and then she also is hearing whispers from the past and of people that are beckoning her home. So she's kind of trying to unravel the mystery of all that. And it just sounds really, really interesting. It sounds right up my alley, so I'm still very excited for this one. I can't wait to read it. And then next up will be Demon's Kiss by Maggie. Shayne just is kind of in the mood for something supernatural. And in this one, you have Reaper, and his current mission is to destroy a gang of road bloodsuckers, which is definitely a one-bam job. Then fate takes a hand, and before he knows it, he's surrounded by a ragtag crew of misfit helpers: the newbie, the princess, the shapeshifter, and the human healer. So just a supernatural book. So hopefully it will be good. Um, and we'll see how I enjoyed that one. And then we are going to jump back to another ABC Author Challenge book, and that is Anne Hillerman, Rock with Wings. This one is from the Chi and Leaphorn series, which her father, Tony Hillerman, started. And again, just kind of a Southwestern mystery kind of detective novel, but also has Native American roots. So you have the Navajo tribal cops Jim Chi and Bernadette Manuelito, and the legendary Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn are back in this exciting Southwestern mystery. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. It sounds like it takes place in New Mexico, which is where I live. So really excited for this one. And I also have one of her father's books for my 25 Days of Bookmas books. It's later on down the line, but really excited to read her and then later on read him. And then next up, we jump back over to my 25 Days of Bookmas. So my husband and sister-in-law had gotten me River of Blue Fire, which is book 2 in the Otherland series by Tad Williams. So I did get book 1, which is City of Golden Shadows, and so I'm hoping to read both of these this month. We will see. It kind of has to do, there's like a secret society, but they have like this other world essentially. And so we'll see how I enjoy those, but those will be next up. And then I really wanted to add this one. So those are all the books that I had on my March TBR. And now we're going to get into the books that I added to that, because why not? Like I said, if I don't get to them, they'll just go on to May. So, but I had read Cross My Heart by Carly Phillips back in February. It's a little romance book and really actually enjoyed it. And it's a duology. And so I wanted to get the other one. I had found it at a little used bookstore that's close to us, and this one's called Sealed with a Kiss, and this is one of the side characters. So really excited to read this one, why this one is still fresh in my mind. So hopefully I will be able to get to that. And then another one I picked up at that same little bookstore that really shouldn't have, because I'm not supposed to buy any new books, but my husband talked me into it. And I've been seeing this one around booktube, and it's one that really caught my attention. And when I saw it on the shelf, I was just so drawn to it. My husband just like, just get it, just get it. And that is The Once and Future Witches by Alix E. Harrow. This one will kind of be a reward if I get through my stack. I'm going to go ahead and read this one because I'm really, really excited for it, and I just don't want to wait. And then I'll jump on to the next book in the Dresden Files, which is White Knight. Really hoping, like I said, I can fit this in. I might actually read this before The Ones and Future Witches, just because, like I said, I'm really trying to work my way, and since I already missed one of the books in March, I'm hoping I can get to 2 in April. So this will probably go before that book, but we'll just see. These are really easy reads. They're really quick, so I don't see a problem getting through it once I do start it. And then I'll do another 25 Days of Bookmas books, which is The Way of the Shadows. This is book 1 in the Night Angel trilogy by Brent Weeks. And this one, kind of, you have like Azoth, who is a guild rat, and then he wants to apprentice and become kind of an assassin, essentially. So this one sounds interesting, and like I said, another one from my 25 Days of Bookmas. And then I'll jump back over to my ABC Author Challenge with Irving Stone, The Origin. This is for my I author, which it's by the first name. And if you know anything about my challenge, which if you're interested, you can go over to my website. I have the rules over there. But if I go by first name, I have to take a punishment and do 2 books. I've already read the other I author. That was Isabel Allende. And so this is the second I author, and it's kind of about Charles Darwin in his early years. And so it just it sounds interesting, and I've heard really good things about it. When I was cataloging, I was reading some of the reviews, and the reviews were actually really good. So really excited to get to that one. So that will be my projected TBR for April. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books on this TBR, which is completely doable for me if I don't have a rough month and can just read. But like I said, I'm not gonna push myself too hard. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But that's what I'm hoping to get to this month, especially at least up to White Knight by Jim Butcher. So the other three books. So if I could get the 10 books read, that'll be great. But we'll just see how it goes. And yeah, that's my TBR for this month. Let me know how your TBR is looking. If you have a pretty good one, a pretty manageable one, or if you're kind of pushing the envelope as well. And I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.